I am Fabrizio Bitti, and me and Daniele are going to present this webinar about Exewatch. Exewatch is a platform to monitor and check your executable that you distribute. I tell you just briefly who we are. We are a big-time company, big-time group company. We are based in Italy. We have a company in Spain, in Valencia. It's called Delphi Studio. We have a company in UK, which is called Big-Time UK. So we are kind of multinational European company. So we are very tight with Embarcadero product and especially with Delphi, because me and Daniele were MVP, Delphi MVP, and we work together with Delphi for a long time now. And so we developed this platform, and this platform is Exewatch. We are also with our company taking care of the Delphi Bytes newsletter. So if you have time to subscribe, please subscribe to our newsletter. It's very interesting. Is about Delphi news, not only Delphi news, but IT news with a look at our Delphi community. So if you have also, instead of just reading, and you want to propose some libraries, some good project that you have done during your work, you want to present something, please get in contact with us at newsroom@bittime.co.uk, so we can include your article, your news about your Delphi enthusiastic project. Another thing is this newsletter is in English, in Italian, and also in Spanish. So if you want to read it in Spanish language, you can subscribe, go in there and then subscribe at the Spanish version. Anyway, get in contact with us. We can give you all the information. About the conference, we also organize a conference. It's called IT DevCon. IT is for information technology, but it's a conference that is very dedicated to Delphi. We have three different version of the conference. We have the main conference, which is in November. And this year is going to be in November in Italy. Last year we were in Milan. In Italy, in Rome, is going to be held in Rome in November. So if you would like to participate and you don't speak Italian, that's the conference that you will like to participate. We have a lot of people coming from many international countries and coming, and the conference is mainly English-speaking conference. Then we have the spring edition, which is going to happen in May this year, and is a single-day event fully in Italian with only Italian speakers. And then we have the Bytes edition that we are holding for just a half day. We go around with people that talk at the conference for just half day, visiting different cities. Okay, so if you want, you can go on IT.con website and get informed and get information about that. So let's go. So I give you all the information about the community and what we do. Now we go to the main topic of this webinar. So we are talking about Exewatch. Is a product from Big-Time Professional, one of the part of the Big-Time group, and it is a product that we develop because we need it in our everyday work. So it's not something that is just uh, in the planning and in the university. This is real life industry standard that we need to achieve. So we have seen what other platform have it, other languages have it, and we developed this platform. Daniele is going to show us how we work, how can you easily integrate in your executable, and be able to save you a lot of time and a lot of effort with your customers. Okay, so I let the screen to Daniele Teti, who is about to show us everything about Exewatch.
Thank you, Fabrizio.
Yeah,
Okay, you should now see my screen
not yet.
now.
Yes, I can
Okay.
see it.
So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time. My name is Daniele Teti. I'm the CEO and CTO of The Time Professional, an Italian software company. Me and Fabrizio work together. I've been working with Delphi for over 25 years, building enterprise application, training developers, speaking at conferences, writing books and articles. And some of you may know me from Delphi MVC Framework, which is an open source project, or from my courses and talks at Embarcadero events and IT DevCon conferences. Today, I want to show you something I'm really excited about. It's called Exewatch, as Fabrizio said, and the idea is simple. Stop guessing, start knowing. What does it mean? Exewatch is an APM, which stands for Application Performance Monitoring, and it works with server and web application too. But what makes it unique is that it was designed from day one for people who distribute desktop application. That's a very different word because desktop app run on machine you don't control behind firewalls with bad connection and user who can't send you a log file. Today there is nothing else that offer this level of support for desktop apps like Exewatch does. Real-time monitoring, AI anomaly detection, and full visibility over your apps in production using Exewatch. Let me show you how you can stop flying blind in production. Let me describe a situation that I think every one of you knows very well. Your phone rings, the customer says, hey, the application is slow and it crashes sometimes. And you ask, okay, which operation? Well, I don't know, everything. Hmm. On which machine? All of them. Maybe, I'm not sure. And you ask, can you send me the log file? Silence.
Where
They
is the
can
log
find
file?
it. What? What log file?
Do
They
we
can
have a
find
log
it.
file? Yeah.
They can find it, or they send an old one, or the log doesn't have what you need. Uh, Days spent guessing. The team is stuck on support instead of producing value, instead of developing. And even with a crash report, you have only a piece of the story. Because you know which line of code failed, but not what the user was doing while the app is failing, nor why it only happens on certain machine, or if the previous version worked better than the current one. Besides that, the crash report tells you nothing about slowness. So it's just passive security, let's say. It is not a Delphi's fault. It is the absence of the right tool up to now. Because Exewatch is to deployment what the debugger is to development. This is the solution for this kind of problem. You will never write code without the debugger because you need to see what's happening inside your code while the application is running. Well, Exewatch gives you the same visibility, but for your application in production on your customer's machine. And Exewatch is built around three simple ideas: monitoring, prevention, and control. Monitoring because you know what's happening in real time, no more guessing. prevention, because you get notified before your customer notice there's a problem, and control, because you know exactly who is affected, where, and since when. This is not a product we built in theory, as Fabrizio spoke about minutes ago, because it comes from 20 years of experience at BeTime Professionals managing critical Delphi application for enterprise client. We built Exewatch because we need it ourselves. So how hard is to get it started with Exewatch? It is very, very simple. Three steps.
Yeah, 3 steps, not only one, 3 steps.
Yes,
You
three
can,
long steps,
yeah,
three small steps. Just you need to use the Exewatch SDK in your source code, initialize it in form create using API key, customer ID, and optionally the app version, and that's it. Yes, that's it. No agent to install on the client machine, no Windows Server to set up, and this is important, no performance impact on your application, because any kind of communication is done by a shipping threading architecture, which
doesn't affect
doesn't affect
performances.
your performance on your system. It works with VCL, FireMonkey, and Android. And if you have an older Delphi version, let's say Delphi 5, 6, or 7, or C++ Builder, or don't worry. There is also the DLL version with the C headers for you. So let's start with a live demo. After the registration, you get into this page, which guides you
So
to
we arrive
the first.
here going to exewatch.com.
Yeah, exewatch.com.
We register, and then we get
Go here, get started free, small registration, create an account, then sign in, and you get there. Okay?
Okay.
So what we have to do is to create our first application. Let's talk. Let's name this application my first app. Choose the platform, which can be Linux, Windows, Mac OS, mobile platform, or browser. In our case, we select Windows, and then we can choose one of the supported SDK. This is the Delphi native, which comes with source code. This is the DLL version
Of the
for
Delphi.
very old Delphi version, or C++, or any language that can use a plain DLL, the .NET one, and the Python SDK. We are going to use this one, which is the main, the greatest, and the nicest. Okay, that's it. We created the application. Now, this is our API key. But here we have some advice regarding GDPR, privacy, and so on. And we can instrument our application following this simple step. At first step, download SDK files. Let's create a sample Delphi application. Sample VCL application, okay. And save it. Here, I call it main form. And then my first app. Okay. It compiles, okay. Let's select 64-bit. Okay. Now from here, I can download the SDK, 8 April, and save it next
at the same level of the path
at the same
file.
level. It can be in any place on your, must be in the library path. This is the concept, but for the demo, we can start with simple approach. Now, does your app have a graphic user interface. If it is a Windows service, a backend for a web application, there is no a graphic user interface in terms of Delphi, VCL, or FireMonkey. In our case, we are going to use another file, another unit, which is used to handle unhandled GUI exception. If this would be an
FMX.
FireMonkey
Monkey.
application, we could use FMX GUI. In this case, we are using VCL GUI. So let's download this SDK too. And that's it. We have to include the downloaded file into the library path or just adding it to the project. Let's compile it. Okay.
Have you
now we have
yeah.
Sorry?
We have to use the SDK and initialize. That's correct?
Yeah. We have to initialize now, step 2, initialize a startup. Where we can initialize it, usually in the main form on create or in the DPR. In this case, we are going to use the form create event. So let's copy this piece of code, which is already has the API key assigned to our application. This is the same.
Okay.
So we can copy this one, go to the form create,
move the users on top,
move the users here just after the implementation, like this. And this is the customer ID that for now we are going to set to webinar like this. Okay, that's it. Exewatch is integrated into your application. It's really a matter of 2 lines.
Yeah, show us what
F9,
happened.
run. Okay, this is our empty form, but also with this empty form, we start to get
some logs.
Message. This is the built-in messages which are sent without any intervention from the user.
So just
and we already get
just the application initialize.
Yeah.
It will create this.
And with this information, we get a lot of information with this log. We have the customer, which is running the application, which can be read by the license file or a login or something. The information about the device, which is running the application, the version of the application, the version of the SDK, information about the operating system where the application is running, hardware information, memory, CPU, and so on, storage information, number of display, network information, where the application executable is, and also the regional settings of the system.
The system, yes.
Now, for each log, I can click on it and see the message. This is just an info. All the information about the device, app version, the thread, the process ID, and the session. And I can filter, we will see this in a moment, we can filter all the information we get from our application by thread, by process ID, by customer, by tags, by kind of message, anything. Okay, this is the very basic integration between Delphi and Exewatch. The first step that we can do is to log. Now, in this approach, we don't have to ask the customer to send the log because the logs are coming to us. Okay, no more asking the customer. Every event is automatically sent to the dashboard with a bunch of information like timestamp, severity, tags, hardware info, app version. It is not a file on a disk, or it's not only a file on disk, but it's structured telemetry, which is filterable, searchable. And if there is no network, there is problem with connection and so on, data are queued to disk and sent as soon as possible when the connectivity returns. If an app crashes, no problem because the data is already saved. There is always zero data loss. And this is very, very important. The events are not sent as soon as they happened, but they are buffered and stored to disk. And then there is another thread which send the information. Does there have to be internet at all times, or can it be done without the internet? Yes, can be done also without internet connection. All the events are stored on disk, where the user can write on disk. And then as soon as the connection return, all the events are sent. Okay, so there are no problem with data loss. Let's see how this works using one of the demo that the product is shipped with, which is called AW Delphi VCL. This application
Daniele,
is
can you show us where to get all the demos for the Exewatch?
Yeah, you can get all the demo from here. Exewatch samples. This is a list of integration with all the SDK, the available SDK. Where you can get this demo, the project is free on GitHub. Let me show you. Okay, GitHub / Daniele Teti / Exewatch samples. Here you have all the demo, the explanation, the description for any kind of scenario where Exewatch can be used. For example, for Delphi VCL, Delphi FireMonkey, Delphi Web Broker, Delphi the MVC framework, or for .NET, JavaScript, or all the documentation about the API, and so on. Everything is here, and you can just download
examples.
It. Yes, also the examples, and you can also provide it to provide this example to Cloud Code or Gemini CLI or Codex to understand how to integrate all the stuff Exewatch provides into your application. It is also a blueprint for agentic coding. Okay. This is what we can. I see a lot of message in the chat. Okay, let me reply to. What if your app does not have a GUI? Yes, we told about it. So you can just don't use the VCL SDK or FMX SDK. You can just use the first one, this one. This one. Okay. Next, does the customer PC need to be always connected to the internet? No, the customer PC doesn't need to be always connected to the internet because the events are buffered locally. And also, we'll have your VCR or FireMonkey Classic some support for visual designers, similar to C#. No, this is not related to Exewatch, if I understand correctly. No, internet connection is not required. Does it log keyboard keystrokes? No, absolutely not. It does not log anything that can be used to steal data from the user. You can do anything you want with Exewatch, but Exewatch don't do things like this.
Doesn't do that.
Doesn't do that. Okay. What must if I did all the code correct, but the project still won't run work? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
the point is
should
that
read
if there is an exception, you will have the log of the exception with all the information about
yes,
the
we'll see
error
in a
and
moment.
information. Yeah, yeah. It's better if you show us the example.
Also, you say that all events are traced. What kind of events? We are talking about user events. What the user want to be sent to Exewatch. The only uh, the only one events the Exewatch automatically send is application start and exceptions. That's it. All the other information must be packaged and sent by the user with an expression
With the
willing
from
of the
the
user.
developer as the user.
Okay, yes. Also, I have a use case where my apps shut and not responding from okay, my poor program. Of course, it could be a temporary network issue. I'm writing something to track this in the app and then dashboard that. This tool looks perfect. Dropping aggregator for that. Yes, it is. We have a number of customers that just have this problem that cannot reproduce um, a slowness problem on the customer side and on the customer machines. And Exewatch helps them to find the problem. Okay. If I have the same FMX app running on Windows and Mac, what should I choose? One for FMX and one for Mac. One for Windows and one for Mac. Because the API key is meant to be the join between platform in terms of operating system and technology of the application. So if you have FireMonkey on Windows and FireMonkey on Mac and FireMonkey on Android, you need three API keys. Okay?
Yes. So you can distinguish and understanding better how it works and how where the error is coming from, and you can filter it and keep it separate
Keep
as
it separate
as a different application.
because they are different applications.
Yeah.
Because the source code, the high-level source code may be the same, but the application, the environment, all what the operating system provides is different. Okay, so let's come back to our logs. What does it mean? Okay, I have this application here. Then with
Okay.
the very same integration, it has just initialized Exewatch. We
So
can
you
just
need
use with AW dot. I have the bug, info, warning, error, and fatal. These are our logs. And logs are used also um, to, to carry all the other information that we are going to see now. So let's open the application, the Exewatch here with the auto refresh and start sending messages. Again, one debug, one info, one warning, one error, one fatal. Yeah, I
yeah,
did
but
an error. Sorry, because I have to copy
yeah,
this
exactly. You didn't put
this
the you
API
didn't
key.
put the
Sorry.
API key.
Yeah, I have to use clearly the correct API key.
Yeah, of course.
Like this. Okay. Is the correct one? Yeah. Okay. And now I can do
You should be
one
able
of.
to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now application started, sample customer, and now I can see all the information that is are sending. This is the different level of logs. This is the building blocks for all the the functionalities that Exewatch provides. Okay, events, which are something that happen locally that you want to see remotely into the Exewatch dashboard. And you can obviously see events for different customer. You can filter for customer you can filter for after, then the customer, you can filter for specific device and specific version of your application. So you can understand all the logs, you can see all the logs that a specific application sent from a specific device from a specific customer site. You can really understand anything that is happening on your system, on the customer system with your application. And you can also filter for what is happening in the last hour, 2 hours, blah, 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 all time. You can filter for levels, for tags. Tags are a sort of tag which has which are applied to each log that help us to understand which kind of area the logs concerned about. Okay, these are the logging. Now, talk about a crash report. A crash report tells you about code. So which line of code there is an exception. Breadcrumbs that we are going to introduce in a moment tell you what the user was doing. Because this is the question that we normally do to the customer. What you were doing when this happening. Hmm? So the breadcrumbs is the sequence of the user actions before an error. Which form they open, which button they pressed, which operation they launched, which are not talking about technical side, which is the line of code that raised an exception, but what the user was doing when that exception rose. Okay, so you have more information to exactly know what to reproduce. Let's see an example. Okay, breadcrumbs are sent only in case of errors and are sent automatically in case of errors. This is how it works. You can, into the AW global object, which is not specifically an object, but let's say is a global entity that you can reach, add breadcrumb. And you can set also the type of breadcrumb. Navigation, clicks, something, this and that. There are some standard breadcrumb, or you can just say with a tag navigation, general. Okay, so when the user clicks a button, double click a grid, move on a edit on something else, you can add the action that the user is doing. So user open customer detail, then edited billing address. Clearly, we are not doing this always in the same method. Obviously, this is just a demo. Then click and save, and then an exception is raised. In this case, check this exception is not handled exception, is an unhandled exception, which reached directly the VCL dialog. In this case, an exception is raised. Now, check what Exewatch allows you. Here we have in the bug, so the user say save failed, invite the postal code. Okay. Check what Exewatch tell us. See this small icon. This icon says that attached to that message, there are breadcrumbs, so that we don't only have the message of the exception, the stack trace with the line where the exception has been raised, but also what the user was doing just before the error. In this case, the user opened the customer details at this timestamp, then edited billing address at this timestamp, and then click and save, and then boom, go exception. so that I can understand the error. So what the user say, so what the user see, the code where the exception has been raised, and what the user was doing just before the error, so that I have more information to solve the problem. Hmm? And obviously, in this case, I can also filter by thread, because this mechanism can be used also for background threads. So I can filter by threads and check what this thread was doing in its life. Okay, this is very it's one of the killer feature. Okay, also let's do an eye. Let's give an eye to the dashboard. What's the dashboard? The dashboard allows you to have an overview about the health of your application. Now we see that this very application has 2 customers, which installed totally this application on 2 devices, and in the last 24 hours sent 9 events, on which 3 was error. And here I have probably the most important information in this page, which is the health of the application, which is calculated using a weighted formula about error rate, crashes, e anche slowness rate, and it says that the application now is degraded. The health of the application can be healthy, degraded, or critical. And to understand how it works and how can be changes this mechanism, you can go here, health score thresholds, and modify these numbers to set your very own threshold. And any change of the health level of the application is tracked here in the health history for the last 7 days. So you know that maybe in the night there is a number of errors um, uh, that create problem in the application, and then in the morning this error was not still happening, and then the application becomes healthy, but you know then this night has been some problem. So you can check any change of the healthy state. Then you have here the log levels, just the number of each error level, log level, not error level. Here we have the alert that we are going to talk in a moment. The top errors, so the errors which happened most often. Here you have the slow operation, the number of slow operation. The slow operation, this second here, this 1 second, is all the operation that exceeded this duration. Okay. Now we are going to talk about timing in a moment, and this is the active device in the last 24 hours.
Okay, there is a question, maybe this is the moment, that said, can I add more than one tag to a single event?
No, we are. This is something that we are considering, but currently you cannot have more than 1 tag for a single event. We are considering just the last week, because a couple of customers asked about how I can identify this event in this scenario and this other scenario. So it
So
makes sense, maybe that will
in the
start
next
to be supported.
in the next version that is coming every 2 days, there is a new version. So it's
No,
very
today
it's
no,
very very often,
very often, yeah.
definitely more often than the Delphi versions.
Yeah. Another feature that is available in Exewatch is the timing mechanism, which allows to understand if something is low. normally you know that something is low because the customer complains, but what, where, for whom?
Yeah, exactly.
In this case, you can wrap any operation between start timing and end timing, and Exewatch measures the time and automatically computes aggregate statistic. For example, that customer that complains because that specific select is particularly slow, or complains because when he tries to attach 1 GB file, uh, it is a bit slow to complete, or because the report generation of the last 20 years is too slow, or something else, or something like this, and you don't understand why it is low, or where it is low, or on which how it's frequent is this slowness, you can use the timings. And this is a proactive alert because you can set these thresholds that you can see here. You can see here, and automatically all the operations which are slower than this are automatically marked as slow and can be also sent an alert about it. Let's go step by step. So we want to measure an operation. I have to call start timing. This is the timing ED, which is the operation. Here we don't have parameters. We have the name. So
Of the
customer
operation.
select, um, billing form opening, I don't know, something which is an operation. Then if you want to attach parameters, you can attach parameter with the other parameters. eh? So that I know that I select with all the customer of all the years it's too slow, so I have to limit the number of blah, 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 blah. Okay, so to better understand why it's slow. But before to understand how you can make it faster, you have to understand what is low
Yeah.
and why it is low. Okay, so you can start timing, and then into a try except set a code like this: end timing with the same id, and in the exception block end timing with success false. This
Yeah.
third parameter is success, which by default is true. But if the operation fails, you can set success false. Why? Because it doesn't make sense to compare timing of a successful operation and a
Not.
failed operation. Obviously, no?
Yeah.
Because maybe that a failed operation is a timeout of a database connection, which doesn't mean that the select of the customer query is low. It's just another kind of problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to identify if the operation ended successfully or is failed. Okay, in this way,
Can I add something?
yeah,
About this timing. What I've done, because obviously with VCL application, everyone more or less have created their own hierarchy of forms. What I've done is I put a timing at the base class, one start timing on the create event, and then the end timing at the activate event on activate, which means that it gives me the information about how long it passed between creation and the user see the form. And obviously, I use the name of the form as the identifier of the timing. So I have automatically, with just 2 lines of code, I have all the information about when my forms are slow and the user click and wait for a long time. So now I can say that that long time is 1 second, 2 second, 5 seconds, or uh, less than what the customer always complain, that is, oh, I wait for infinite time to have my forms. I can respond to him saying, no, this is not infinite time. Sometimes you wait for 8 seconds, but that happen every time at 13 hour, which means that probably your database is doing something. Or so you can identify when something happens slow, or if it's a connection problem, just with the information of what are the slow operation. And really, with just 2 lines of code, it gave me a great power on a different number of customers that want to, try to just say, oh, sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it's not a number.
Yeah, sometimes it's not a number. You need a number. If you don't
Yes.
have number, it's only an opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let's see how it works. We can go here into the timing, setting auto refresh, and create some operation with the timing mechanism. Okay. This is a single operation. Now that is starting to produce something. You see that we see here the timings with the timing ID, the tag, the number of this timing ID happened, and the average number, the average time, the total time, minimum, maximum, 95th%, and the percentage of success. You can also point to the timing logs. You see the performance trend. You see the slowest operation, and so on. Also, timing and profiling is a very hard um, stuff. So Exewatch support different schema of profiling. For example, let's say that I have a mechanism that for a number of time create different operation, customer query, invoices aggregate, create reports, and I have start timing, then some sleep, and for 30% of the time it raise an error, and then the end timing here is with success and here with false. Also, the timing support overlapping with nested timing. So you have the main operation, which is composed by operation A, operation B, operation C, and so on. And you can have the timing of all the smallest operation and the timing of the whole operation. Also, you can start timing A, start timing B, end timing B, end timing A in this way, or in this way, or also with a mechanism of stack. So you can start, 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 and then without name, just call end timing, end timing, end timing. And the end timing without parameter, without timing D, automatically ends the latest time started. Okay, so just as a stack. Okay, let's see how this works. Let's run it without debugging, without debugger, so that I'm not blocked by the debugger. Okay, here we are simulating a number of operations, and Exewatch starting filling with the information about it. I click at a lot.
Are you on auto refresh?
Yeah, I'm on auto refresh.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. This is similar to the real world situation where the success is not always 100%. And you say that here 80% of the time the operation create reports is has been good, the 20% has not been good. And here you have the average time considering only the success true event. And you can also understand the distribution of the time or the trend over time, and also the recent entries about this operation. And you can also point back to the logs which produces this information. This is the reason because I told that logs are the building block of Exewatch. Okay. Here you have all the statistics. You can also compare. For example, I would like to compare creates reports and customer query, and I can compare these two operations because maybe that these operations are related in some ways. Okay. Or I can select only this one and this one maybe. And here in the performance trend, I can see only these two operations. In the performance trend, I see normally the average, which is the line, the continuous line, and the count, which is the dashed line, which maybe that are not the same, aligned. In this case, I see duration on the left side and count on the right side. And because the number obviously can be different. And I can see here the average of the operation, or for example, create reports, and I can see the average or 95th percentage or the maximum for each operation. Okay, and here I have the slowest operation brought compared always in the last 24 hours, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and so on. For example, here in 10 minutes, you can appreciate the different, that the count is different from the average, obviously, because the units is different. But you see that here you have the average. Also, if the count is lower, but the average time is ramping up, because maybe this operation, this free operation, is spending more time than normally. Okay, and so you have all the information about the timing. As Fabrizio said before, you can understand. This is a very useful instrument because you can understand using the timing putting the timing in a specific place in your code. You can understand when that operation that usually is acceptable or it's fast, sometime is not.
Yeah.
This is the case where the timing is really, really important. Because if something is slow while debugging and on the customer, you don't have a problem to reproduce because you know which is slow. Okay. Maybe an algorithm which the same data, it is slow. Okay, it is slow always. But if sometimes it's slow and sometimes it's not slow, that is really hard to reproduce. With the timing functionality of Exewatch, it allows you to fix this problem. Okay, let's go on. So
Oh, we have some questions.
okay,
Okay,
let's hear the
first one
question.
is a curiosity about what technology you use to build Exewatch.
It's a mix of technology.
So backend,
Backend is Python.
okay, and front end,
Front end is HTMX.
HTMX. Okay.
HTMX, and all the SDK is Delphi oriented always, but the backend is Python, and the front end is HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and HTMX. Okay, so other question, my application used by many customers, only one person has a problem, hypothetically. How can I ensure that only a specific customer events are locked, not only filtered? Is a conditional call initialize Exewatch solution? Yes, yes, it is, because here, for this very kind, for this type of
Case.
problem, as you know, we develop Exewatch because we need it. This is so you have Exewatch is initialized. So if you just don't call initialize Exewatch, all
You
the
can check.
information you can check if Exewatch is initialized.
So all the
There is
rest
no
is beginning.
silent exception because silent exception are the dead of the developers, the silent exceptions, but you can check it, okay? So you can check, and if it's initialized, you can call it all the stuff, blah, 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 blah. If it's not initialized, just don't say nothing, okay? Okay, let's go back here. What Exewatch allows us to do is not just to know what happens, but to whom and in what context. What does it mean? That if you want or can, after asking to your user, you can associate every event with a specific user. And then you can filter by user in the dashboard and see specifically when the customer calls, search their name and see everything. This is what I'm talking about. Here, after Exewatch initialized, you can call set user. This user is the application user, which means that all the subsequent events are have this
Have
user
the
attached,
information of the user
have the
attached.
information of the user attached. Here you can see, for example, that this one comes from Jane Doe, because usually this information is attached just after the login. So the user say Jane Doe, blah, 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 password, okay, login, okay, attach, set user Jane Doe. So that I can understand not only the device, but also the application user, okay, where this information happened. Clearly, be take care that you need to inform the user about all the information that are retrieved, okay? But Exewatch can do it without problem. Also, you can attach global tags. What does it mean? Just like the user, you can attach tags to the application. For example, you know that an application is running in staging and in test and on a particular environment, on a particular database, I don't know, in some different environment than the usual one, and you can attach tags.
Yeah, for example, we have an application that has multiple databases depending on the first choice of the user. And then I can use a
Maybe.
tag to say, okay, now the application is tagged on this database or this other database.
Yeah, yeah. This means for same application, same version with something different in the
Yeah.
environment. This is the meaning. And when you have this situation, you have here the application tags. Okay?
Yeah.
And you can use this one also to understand some specific machine, some specific computer, some specific something. It's something which is attached to all the logs.
So you can have multiple application tags,
Yeah, you can
but
have
not
multiple,
multiple tags on single event.
not the single event. You can set tag in this way. You can also remove
At the
tag.
moment,
Yeah, yeah,
in this
at
version.
the moment. Okay, and also this is one of the features that I love much, which are the custom metrics. Custom metrics comes in two flavors: counter and gauge. counter simply count, like any counter, how many
Is a
times,
counter.
yeah, and how many times something happens, which can be login OK, login KO, new order placed, new order shipped, some new customer complained, anything. You can count everything, and this counts. This counter can be used to count something which is not technical, but something which appertain, which belongs to the domain problem that application solves. Okay,
Okay.
can be maybe
Um,
the
invoices or
invoice or the value of the invoices of the, okay,
number of books for a
yeah,
library or
anything.
whatever.
We can have it here in customer in metrics. And here we can do, for example, orders new, then shipped one, order another orders, then shipped, then billed, then we can record the gauge. The gauge um, compared to counter is very different because the counter counts something, which is an uh, aggregate of a value. Okay, while the gauges is just like the gauge
The
in the car.
speedometer. Yeah,
Yeah, the
speedometer.
speedometer, which is a snapshot of the current situation. For example, space on disk, memory used, or something like that. These are counters. These are gauges. Hmm? And you can also set different value for these gauges. For example, you can say that from 40 to 51, no, this is the minimum, so 40 and the maximum is 60. And from 40 to 50 is red, then from 51 to 55 is yellow, and 56 to 60 is red, and so on. And you can also define a meaningful range of the information. Okay, and these are specific for your application. Okay, maybe the number of chart, the number of cart in your basket, maybe the average number of products in the user cart, maybe, I don't know, anything which makes sense for your application.
Yeah.
Okay. And here the counters can be obviously filtered for customer, for time, and so on. Okay.
Something like the value of the order can be another gauge.
Yeah, yeah.
Something like, the value is going up, people
Another
buying
thing
more.
that we have for free using Exewatch is the updates tracking. Another big problem for those who develop desktop application is what kind of application, what kind of
Version.
version that specific user is using, or do all the customer already updated the new one? I have to go to check to logs to understand if they update. No, this is not more needed because you can check this one, updates. Here we have the history of the updates for any um, desktop in this case for any customers. Let's say we have two total devices and how many versions are in use. This is the latest version and this is the percentage of the adoption of the latest version. So you can provide your updates in the channel you usually use. And when you release a new version, in this case, for example, I have, let's check here the version info. We are talking about the binary version. If you want to track the product version, you can pass it as a third parameter in the initialized, and you can see both one. Okay, let's say that I want to release the 2.5.0.0. Okay, this is the new one. I start to release this application. I see that there is the new one. Okay, the device says that an update happens. This is the history of the updates for any device. I see that here in at this time I had a fresh install because I reached from known to 2.2 to 1.7, and at now this is the UTC time.
Yeah.
Here in Italy we are at UTC +2 now because we are in daylight saving time. So this is the UTC time. And here we have the upgrade from version, the oldest one to the newest one. Okay, and this is also the version of the application. Another information that is understood at upgrade is a big change of the operating system. If the operating system changes, it's considered an upgrade because you have to know if your application is starting to produce errors because something changing in the operating system. This is very, very important. So it is not an application upgrade, but is a system upgrade. And we can track also this one. Okay, now here in the updates, we see that we have two versions in use. The latest version is now 2.5.0, and there is this one, which is the oldest application. We still have the 1.0.0.0, but now here we have the binary version 2.5.0.0, and so on. You can check all the version of all devices for all the customer. Okay, this is very important.
Okay. We have some questions.
What questions?
So first question is, how do we get the information, the bug information with the map file? Do we need to ship the map file with the exit?
So currently we support retrieving of the bug information using the map file, but so we have to ship it. But Exewatch allows to use the bug information, for example, from Madshi, MadAccept, or JCL debug, and you can just use what you're using now.
Okay.
Exewatch provided, but you are not forced to use that way. Okay.
Okay.
So you can use anything you are currently used. If you don't use anything, you can just use Exewatch and use what they provide.
Okay. Then
Other question?
another question is about how licensing work, because we have hundreds of users with thousands of clients. How does the licensing work? Do you want to do it now? Say now, or you have it?
No,
slides?
I talk about licensing in a bit.
Okay.
In a bit. Okay, registration with US upgrade. Did you like it? Yes, I know. Okay, yeah, system upgrades are very important as the app's behavior can change according to the OS. That's the reason. That's the reason because it's here. Other question related? No, we can reply in a moment.
There was one question about, but it's not strictly to Exewatch, is how you suggest to do the distribution of the executables.
Okay, we can talk about this at the end.
There are different ways to. Okay.
Okay. So
let's go forward.
now we have another point of view. Exewatch know about something, but you don't know about that information if you don't have to ask to Exewatch. But Exewatch contains a number of alerts that automatically
Give
are
you the
automatically
information.
sent to you using one, two, or three ways. The first one is the email. So we have a number of information that Exewatch can automatically send. The first one is the change to the health level of the application. So when the health level of the application changes, automatically it's sent an email to say, hey, this is changed, was like this, and now is critical because this, and this. And this is automatic.
I receive it a
Then,
lot.
yeah, me too,
And it's very
me too.
useful.
Then you have the configurable alerts, which are really, really useful. Here in alerts, we have log level alerts and timing alerts. What does it mean? The log level alerts are something related to the logs, specifically to the log level. So you can say, for example, my bad, my errored query, like this. And I can say, if I have 5 events in 10 minutes about exception and sample with a minimum level error, then send me
An
an alert.
alert.
This is particularly useful because it's not when arrives an error, send me an email. Because for some particular reason, for connectivity problem, for anything that can happen, you get flowed by thousands of email. Okay, that's not the case because here we have the cooldown
Timing. Yeah, something
timing
like so.
and also the threshold and the window. So it's not a spot error. It's something that is structural because it's happening, for example, 5 times in 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
it's a problem. It's not something, it's not a spike that happens for some temporary reason. Okay, and you can obviously enable and disable it. Okay, there are also the timing alerts, which is not related to the level of the log, but the timing of the log. So you can set, for example, any timing or maybe databases dot star timing. So if you use a mechanism to name your timing D, you can filter for that timing D. And the mechanism is similar, but is not to the log level, but to the max duration. So you can say, if I have 5 or 3 or 2 or 20 operation slower than, I don't know, 500 milliseconds, 20, more than 500 milliseconds in 30 minutes, uh, filtered for this category or just any category, send me an alert. For example, slow customer queries. Okay? So it is not just a threshold. It's a weighted threshold because it's a number of events
In a window, in
in
a
a
time
time
window.
box, in a time window. Okay,
Yeah.
and there is always the cooldown period.
So after
Okay,
60 seconds, then
yeah,
it
you
will
don't get the same alerts
for 1 hour.
for 1 hour. Okay, and you can add alerts according to your plan. Also, these alerts usually sends email, but you can integrate it with Discord and you can just get the
Yeah.
information into the chat. So
Yeah, we
if you
have.
have a
Yeah, we using in our development team, we use Discord and we have different chats for different projects, and we also get the error at the right position, and it's very useful.
because you know when is happening what, and just paste here the Discord webhooks and you get the information directly into the chat. Also, you have the webhook.
Webhook.
The webhook allows to integrate anything that happens in terms of alerts into Exewatch to your environment. For example, you can publish a server, which is, as an example, is also here. This is an example of a webhook server, which is able to receive the alerts, and you can use these alerts to create, for example, a ticket into your ticketing system, or to create a record in your database, or I don't know, anything. Okay. And you can also set which kind of information you want. For example, you want only when the health is arrived to be critical, or when it's recovered, or when the timing alert or the log level alert, anything. Okay. And it is really, really simple to do. Hmm? And you can configure Discord and webhook. And all the things that you configure here, plus the healthy status changes, automatically are sent to the email, to the whole team email, and the integration that we defined here. Okay? It is automatic.
Yeah. Can you talk about the team?
Yes, I can. I should.
Yes, yes, because there
Yes.
was a question about how does it work. We have a number of
Okay, okay.
people working.
Okay. You can, into Exewatch, work in a team so that there is the main owner of the account, in this case is Daniele Teti, but I can invite a member. I can invite a member, for example, Fabrizio.
Yeah.
I can send the invitation to Fabrizio, and then here I see the pending invitation. When Fabrizio accepts, Fabrizio can see all my applications, also if its plan is lower than mine. For example, I here have the business plan, but Fabrizio could have the hobby plan or the pro plan, and can see the application because it is part of the team. Okay. And also there is another things that are really useful. You can, for specific application, share. You can share an app allowing another user of Exewatch, which it does not make part, is not part of the team, is not part of the team, but just can read all the information that Exewatch contains as read-only. Okay? So it is just, for example, if you have a collaborator or a freelance or the IT staff of the customer that want to know how the application is doing, and any information, you can share the app without adding that user into the team, but just allows to see the information. Okay,
Do you
and
want me
all
to
the
accept the
people.
invitation? Do you want me to accept?
Yes, accept.
Okay. Accept
Okay.
invitation.
If you accept, it's accepted. And now
Yeah.
Fabrizio is a member, okay? So that he can see all my application into his dashboard,
Yeah.
okay? Fabrizio can have also
My
its own
own,
application,
yeah.
okay? His own application. But this is my application. Here can have maybe Fabrizio application and Jack application and
Yeah, I can see now my first app.
okay, he can see now my first app. And I can also share single application because I don't want to share all the application, but just one for a collaborator, a customer, anything. And I can just put, for example, here, and this user can see only that application as a read-only. Okay, and this we created this functionality because it's really, really useful for teams. Okay, for
Yeah.
developers teams which works
And you
together.
can send an invitation as a read-only to even your customer or your, I don't know, technical leader of your customer, so he can have information about what's happening in their own application. Sometimes is useful. So if you want them to know what is happening inside, you can give them access.
Yeah. Another thing really, really important is the anomaly detection, which is driven by artificial intelligence. For pro and business plan, there is an agent that understands what what is the normal state of your application in terms of log level, and then alerts you if something is changing. These are the same algorithm used by banks to detect fraud. It is very, very important for a critical system or for a professional system. Okay. If normally you have maybe 1 or 2 errors a day, and one day you get 10 errors, that is not a level, a threshold that you have to know in advance, because you could have errors that change during the day, or a number of users that changing during the day, or during the month, or during the year. Okay, so that the anomaly detection understand what is normal now and then detect what is not normal. The Pro plan has the log level anomaly detection engine built in. The business level contains the log level anomaly detection and the timing level anomaly detection. So that if your application is normally fast a number X, I don't know, and then during the day, during the time, during the month, during the year, I don't know, it start to be slower, you get notified without doing anything. You don't have to ask to the system and understand. The system understands for you that something is changing. Okay? I repeat, these algorithms are the same algorithms used by the banks to detect fraud. Okay, this is a really, really important, and it's just there. You don't have to do anything. Okay, just only this feature worth the cost of the whole Exewatch. Exewatch can be used in cloud, so ready to use, managed by us on Europe EU servers, or can be released on-premise with your infrastructure, total control, nobody leaves your network, so you have any less problem using GDPR and so on. Also, you can have read-only app sharing, as we told. This is the process that your logs follows. So your app write to the log file using a background thread. And then there is another thread called the shipper thread, which sends to the Exewatch server. This is the very same mechanism used by databases to do logic replica. So this mechanism works more or less by 30 years. Okay? And it is not a workaround like many other tools that says that can be used for desktop application, has been built from the day one with desktop application in mind, and works behind that through proxy with intermittent connection and so on. And it is the only architecture that makes sense for the desktop. That's absolutely true. It is built for GDPR and global privacy regulation because you have encrypted data in transit. Automatically, data is deleted after your planned detention period, which is 7, 30, or 90 days. There is no manual cleanup needed. And if you there is a particular case when you are in LAN where you use, for example, Active Directory, here on the hardware info, which is composed by the username at computer name, host name, here you can have the username. And in some cases, some companies could not allow this for GDPR stuff regulation, so that you can set anonymized device ID, you can set it to true, which is another parameter here of the initialize Exewatch. Okay, here we have app version that can be also empty, and here by default is fault, but you can set it to true, so that not even the logged operating system name is leave the machine. Okay. Also, if you have particular requirements about
Privacy.
term of service privacy, here we have a templates that you can allows the user to accept, the company to accept. If you are in particular scenario, you can check you can also check this by a legal. But usually this just says what the system is collecting. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of SDK, okay, Stefan, that was my next question. I don't need the German customer need that. Yes, Italian customer too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, in terms of SDK and support, the source code SDK, which is the native one, the one we used in this demo,
So
support
it's basically
from
source code that is compiled within your
yeah,
executable.
yes,
Okay, so there is
that's
nothing
two.
else to distribute, just
No,
the
nothing else
execute.
to distribute. Just these two, this one and the VCL one. Okay. Support Delphi XC8 and better. Okay. So full source code that you just have to include your library path, support VCL, FMX on Android. It's a native API, zero dependencies. Zero dependencies. I hate the software with a bunch of dependencies. Just zero dependencies. Compile time integration and has 2 mobile support. If you are on an older version of Delphi, or if you are on C++ Builder, or if you are on any type of language that can use a Windows DLL with plain C headers, you can use the DLL SDK, which is this one. When you create the application, you can select Windows and you can download this one. Okay? When you select this one, you just can download a zip file with a precompiled DLL for 32 and 64-bit, and then it is the very same interface. You have to use this Exewatch SDK v1 imports instead of
Or
SD.
or include if it's C.
Yeah,
The,
and then you can use the plain function, okay? Include if C, C++, and with this initialize, okay? Then the information, the dashboard are the same. One very important thing, if you use the DLL SDK, you have to to get the stack trace if you use it into your application because the DLL cannot see the stack trace. Okay, so if you use Mathsheet, JSL debug, whatever you use, you can use it. Okay, and in any kind of language. This is the compatibilities. So Exewatch can be used um, can be used
by
oh, yes, yes, that's not a problem. It's Delphi, maybe since Delphi 2, but we didn't have test with such older version. In I I'm reply to this question, the Roger, which says Delphi 5 XE7 DLSD, but under environment it state Delphi 4 XE7. Yes, it's you can use it also from
on
any
Delphi
32-bit Delphi 2.
maybe Delphi 2, not
Yeah,
Delphi 1 because it was 16, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we didn't do the test, so you can try it. Okay?
Another
But
question because
the
yeah,
concept is if you can use a DLL,
you
then you
can
can use
use.
Exewatch. Okay?
Okay. About the data transmission, do we need to open a particular port on the customer site?
Exewatch communicates using the standard HTTPS port, so 433.
So
So
if they can browse, they
if
can do that.
they can browse on a HTTPS website, it's okay.
Hmm.
Okay? If you need to open any specific domain, you have to open exewatch.com. Okay?
But to be clear, is not uh, nothing gets into the customer LAN. So it's only information that goes out. So that is the machine with the executable that need to reach an outside server. It's not the outside server that need to reach inside. That never happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That never happened. Uh, Another thing, consider that all these infrastructure can be used by any kind of language in the world. There is also the JavaScript browser SDK, so that if you have a website, a web application built in Delphi or not, you can just plug the JavaScript SDK in your application. It's compatible with Angular, React, HTMX, vanilla JavaScript. You can just use it. Just use the script and it works. Okay? It automatically handles JavaScript error and unhandled rejections. It handles also user session and breadcrumbs and allows to do log persistence after the tab close. This is limited by the browser, but it can obviously you cannot work for months offline using a browser. Also, if the browser is in your intranet. Okay. The one thing that I really need into the Exewatch SDK is that the interface, the general concept are the same. They don't depend by specific SDK. They are the same. Okay, so if you understand how to use it in Delphi, you can use it in C, C++, you can use it in JavaScript, you can use it in .NET, you can use it in Python, because the general concepts are the same. Are implemented a bit differently because the
Do
language is
the
different,
language, yeah,
but the
is the
API are the
same.
same. Yeah.
Well, there is a question. What if they cannot browse or port are closed? There will be any slowdown on the app in the application due to the to the timeout?
No, it doesn't slow down because it doesn't happen, the connection doesn't happen in the main thread. And the system start to buffering the events. Then when the number of events reach a defined number, the oldest event are
Or
deleted, okay, or
okay,
discarded. So even if you are offline for 15 days, you will not have problem
yeah,
because
you will lose the old
the
events.
oldest one, yeah,
Yeah, you will lose the old events.
the old events. But if we are talking about um, connection loss for 1 hour, 2 hour, 2 days, that's not a problem. Okay.
Okay.
Then there is also the Python SDK, which, as you know, Python is very often used to do data analysis, to do a lot of stuff with artificial intelligence, and so on. So we added also Python SDK, and it is really, really simple to start to use because you just have to download one module. It's not even a package; it's a module, which is exewatch.py. I love simplicity. Uh, and so you can just import it and just start to use it. That's it.
Yeah.
So the concept is one product, one dashboard, whatever your code base is brand new or 20 years old. There are no difference. Okay. These are the price level. The hobby plan is free. One app, 5,000 event per month. 7-day retention, no credit card required. You can just register as 100 of customer already did. You can just start to use without problem. Then there is the pro level, which rise to 5 apps, 100,000 events per month, and 30-day retention with AI anomaly detection based on log level. Then business, 20 apps, 1 billion events per month, 90 days retention with specific service license agreement, and Discord and webhooks. Discord is available also in Pro. This is the change of the latest moment. And get also webhooks. Or if you have particular needs, you can use the on-premise plan.
Version.
The on-premise version obviously is everything unlimited. Your server with customs SLA, total control with a private
Within a
offer.
private network, so it's your stuff and you manage your application.
Okay, so feel free to use it. Let me check some questions. Oh, Albert, thank you. Albert say, honestly, this looks fantastic. I'm trying it today. Grazie mille. Okay, thank you to you. Okay. Can you describe the on-prem solution? Yes, the on-prem solution comes with a Docker container or virtual machine, more or less. It is Linux hosted. Okay. If you need something different, it is a, a custom offer, which so we can talk about it. But usually is a Docker container with a storage, is a Docker compose file, let's say, okay, with external volumes, and that's it. Okay. Oh, this is very important. What is considered an app for licensing? An app
App is
is
an
just
API key.
an API key, and an API key means what you see here: one platform, one SDK type. That's it. So if you have an application which runs on Windows, you can use this SDK type. It's one application. It's one app. If you have two Windows app, or two Windows app. If there are three, and so on. It means that if you try to use this API key with two different applications, it doesn't work. Yes, it works, but it's almost useless.
Yeah, you get all the information in one
Yeah.
bucket. So obviously, if the application are very similar and you don't care about that, and you want to save and stay on the free, you can do it. Yeah, but it's a bit confusing. If you're doing for business, and I mean, all I don't know how much 1 hour of your work cost, but how many hours you're saving with the with the right usage. Okay, so you can you can save a lot of time and a lot of money just knowing before the customer calls you. This is what sometimes we have customers that we send a new version of the application, and they say, why are you sending a new version? Yeah, because we are correcting an error. He said, but what error? Don't worry, we know about that. So
Yes.
we know more than them about errors and possible errors and slow operation, and all the alerts help us create a very robust application.
Yes, this is very important. I think that this is one of the best things in Exewatch, because you understand how the application is running bet best better than who is see running every day.
Yeah, because
Huh?
you have all the information, right? All the user, all the
Yeah,
machine using it, so it's very important.
yeah, yeah. That's very important. And usually we fix something that the user don't know there is a problem, but we
Okay,
already fix it.
there is another question that said, my client is not allowed to connect to the internet. Will they get an error file that they can send me?
Well, this is one thing that some customer asked to us. Currently, there are no plans about it, but if there are a number of requests, we can try to do it
Yeah.
because it is not too much complex. It is not too
Yeah,
much
because it's
complex.
actually, instead of sending, we just can upload a file and then get the file. But
Yeah, but many of the Exewatch uh, superpower becomes almost useless because it's just uh, forensic information.
yeah,
Okay, so for example, the thing, the mechanism that he alerts you when something's happening, obviously there isn't because the user alerted you when something is going bad.
yeah.
But if you want just the dashboard with all the information related to blah 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 blah, yes, maybe that in the future will manage to add this one, this feature. Okay.
Okay. Another question is how much space the data use if is not connected to the internet.
It
You
depends.
can yeah, you
It
can
depends by the
configure
log.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
can
can.
set the space of the log.
Yeah, you can set it, but it if you set the mechanism by
Number of
time,
events. Ah, okay.
or by size of the file.
Okay.
The first one that is reached.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
it will delete the old ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, the change log is public and is really an important thing.
And with the on-prem solution, all the information is only stored on your server, of
Yeah,
course. There is
absolutely.
nothing that be transmitted outside. So it's only your stuff.
Stefan says multimedia key will be needed as you said if you need customer viewing, therefore separating the same application. No, because the API keys is something related to the application. So if I want to, for example, if I'd like to send this one to another user, okay, I'm sharing this application to this user. I'm using my users plafond. Now is 3 of 10, but the API key is only one, just
Yeah.
one. Okay. So the API keys is something related to the
Yeah, but the,
application, is
yeah, but the
not by
point
the
was
user.
that because there was a question before that said, if I want to share the errors with the user, I cannot send them the API key. You know,
No, no,
cannot
no.
share. Yeah. So if you want to share the question is, are you sharing it now, the logs with all the customer? No. So if you want to keep it, everyone knowing everything that happened inside, and you want them to know, then you have to create an API key for that specific customer. But that's not something that really happens. Usually what you do is you have one application and you send it to 100 customers, and then you can filter for that customer and understanding what happened without sharing that information with the customer. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any questions? A lot of questions. So it's interesting topics. What if industrial PCs and machine factories are never connected to the internet? I want
Yeah,
to space
yeah.
all the data. Okay, that's not a
We already
problem.
talked about that.
Yeah, but if they are never connected to the internet, you can also think about the on-prem, maybe.
Yeah.
Hmm? With on-prem solutions, information source. Yes. Okay. Perfect.
So
Perfect.
we cover all the questions. There are no more questions. So thank you very much for your attention. And we hope that you can start using it as soon as possible. I can tell you that it changed our way to relate to the customers, and they are more happy. So you will have happier customer with just using Exewatch, just knowing how many are using it with just one line. You know where they're using it, with which version are using, and how many times they're using it. So it's all information about your application, and it's very valuable. Okay. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Thank you, Daniela, for your time, and thank everyone for their time.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.